Xron is so good at. So honestly, I'm going to hold the torch up really, really high for Xron. I think he's going to take it. I'm not sure how convincing it's going to be, but I have big dreams for this boy.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be going into our first map. Blood Covenant. It's going to be Cooler versus Xron. Well, it's the old versus the new. DreamHack 2017. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's take it away. We are going to be on board with Cooler to start with. He is going to be on the Nyx, guarding the mega side of the map, and now maybe a small race over to Rockets.
I really like the way Cooler approaches Nyx. You know, ever since he started playing Quake Champions, even during the QWC days earlier this year.
Whoa, he just found what an angle Xron just got a hold of. I think he might, he has got the rail because we know he hit him earlier on, but that rocket was almost the end of Cooler, and he thought that he was protected behind that pillar.
Currently, Cooler not really equipped to take that fight. And if that rocket gave him the data he was down there, I wonder if Xron would have pushed the advantage, because realistically, Cooler hasn't really got a lot of equipment to take these fights. He's got an LG, but that's kind of it for now. I wonder if Xron's going to keep him, like, kept in this location.
Well, there was the Ghost Walk used, and
yeah, let him slip away
for a second. He's moving, little double jump in. He's going to go for the Berserk, trying to find one more punch, but he can't quite get hold of him. The rockets are taken down. No, the punch comes in time. With 15 health to go, he's going to get the heavy items spawning up just the way he wants them to. And now he can stack up once more.
That felt like a very Doomslayer kind of fight, right? Where he went in for the double jump to make the rocket miss, then he instantly activated Berserk, and because he's flying through the air, it looked very, very difficult. Even though Cooler has fantastic rocket placement, against Doomslayer, when he's that close, it's very hard to place those rockets on the money where you want them to be.
I think he possibly could have changed weapon and maybe gone for something else, but we're looking for mid-airs here. Both players are going to be missing them. Extra splash coming from Xron. Cooler's eventually going to be escaping. I think that Cooler maybe should have been switched to Lightning Gun on the previous frag. I mean, it's obviously we have the power of hindsight and everything, but Xron was that weak, just a couple of ticks, and he would have got the first kill instead.
Yeah, well, of course we have the luxury of being able to see the health bars. I assume it must have just been, I don't even take the risk of him having extra, but nicely placed rail. Oh, the pillar! Oh, my days. Thank you. Lucky stars, that pillar was there.
Well, Cooler's going to have 5 seconds until the heavy. Almost walking right into the hands of Xron. So Xron's going to recommend that if he's got good timing, yep, he's going to realize that Cooler won't have hung around for heavy, and he can actually get it himself.
Of course, that's going to be fantastic data, knowing that because the heavy wasn't taken, Cooler was going to be a little bit weaker. Of course, that's swiftly undone by a couple of really nice rockets. Xron now kind of weak.
Yeah, that was awesome damage from Cooler.
And the Mega too.
Now this is a chance for Cooler to create a bit of an attack, although you've always got to be careful of that distance. Anaki's not amazingly strong against Doom, just because of if you get into close quarters, then Doom is pretty much going to one-shot you. Xron's close again.
Oh, unfortunately, that missed rail is going to give Xron all of the information that he needs. Is he going to look to take the fight, though? Yeah, trying to keep his distance, but forcing the injection. That's going to be good information for Xron. Heavy's been taken, but with the injection being down, if he catches him in a bad situation now, there is nothing to save his skin.
Oh, he's just missing these rails. Cooler is actually using the air control pretty well to his advantage. And I know that something that Xron's been practicing a lot is those rails on Anarchy. And when you're doing so much deathmatch, as much as Xron, you do end up going versus quite a few Anarchies over there. So you end up practicing those skills against such fast champions. 100 collective health and armor.
Especially in the 2v2 TDM, which Xron really has kind of been taking by storm as of late. Anarchy and Doom, a famous combination.
Oh. Xron gonna get over to the Mega in a moment. He's looking to put pressure on the rocket. I don't know if he saw Cooler in time, but Xron's been pushed off items quite a bit. So maybe he's gonna change his strategy up and say, look, I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to try and play that defensive game now, and you're going to change your game plan to try and win on that 5-minute timeout, if Cooler is pushing Xron off the items, at the very least, when he decides to take the fight, he knows that he is going to have a stack that can somewhat compete with Doom. But for now, Xron going on to the heavy, but a very important rail. Keep him arm's reach. A second one comes through. Can he finish the job and get a third?
Oh, he's going to get over to this small armor. Cooler's right above him, but does not want to risk things in a close encounter.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a while until Heavy's going to be back, so I think he realizes now if he can take a fight with that fresh Mega on deck.
So Xron's just got to focus on his position to make sure the only way he forces a fight is if Cooler does want to go close. There's one more rail would have killed Cooler. He eventually backs off. Only so much you can gamble in such instances when you need to land more than a rail to take down your enemy.
I feel that's going to be the last Heavy we see, but oh no, he's got no more rail shots. So he's going to have to go and replenish that. But, I mean, just look at the fact he's got 25 seconds left. and Xron's going to be guarding it.
Nice little bit of damage. Cooler still hasn't got that rail itself, and he's going to be landing one more shot. There is going to be injection news. Enough armor for Cooler to survive for just a second, but he's going to have to get this heavy and then absolute charge it. This is the last chance, and the only thing giving him a chance is the speed that he can get with this champion. But I don't know if 3 seconds to go, the first round is going to go to Xron just through survival itself.
Yeah, I mean, like, the idea at the very end of that round to essentially guard the rail was really smart. I mean, Cooler was in a situation where he was taking those rails and wasn't really able to fight, and then, I mean, if you have no rails to return damage, you can't get that offense started. You can't go, right, I've done some damage, let's go in and finish the job. If that's not even possible, what does Xron have to worry about? I mean, it's totally smart that he played that defensive game by the end there.
Oh, completely. It was very measured from Xron. I think he would have liked to have landed maybe a couple more shots just to settle him down a bit more. But otherwise, he adapted to the situations flawlessly. But moving into round 2, it is going to be Doom versus Doom.
Yeah, Cooler's looking to fight fire with fire. He's gone, well, let's go Doom instead. Let's try and sort of...
yeah, I don't think we saw his Doom before. I think he went Nyx and then Anarchy, and we never saw the Doom Slayer from him.
Yeah, this is the first time. Well, of this series, of course.
Armor's going to be up. Mega 2. Going to be meeting each other in the middle.
2 actually really good rockets from both players, so very weak.
Wow.
Xron just needs one more round. That was charged.
Yeah,
well, the 90 damage. Let's just get that extra bit. Why not?
A brilliant shot from him. He didn't even have to force the Berserk out. They went so close to each other, but neither of them went to use it. You kind of expect them to be so ready. A little trap, but that was great actually from Cooler. It was just a couple of side steps, trying to see, is there an angle? Is he actually going to be hiding there and waiting? They're realizing it's not safe. I'm not going to go for it.
It was just good awareness, you know, really good game sense to go, well, I know that the rocket's really important here, but he's going to understand that too. So if I get a rocket immediately, that's quite an obvious trap to be laid. Doesn't want to overextend too much.
Xron is still landing some great rails. It's relieving him of so much pressure from Cooler. Now Cooler's got to stack once more, but if we see another rail, then it gives Xron a chance to be actually hyper-aggressive.
For sure. Cooler's being forced away from the important items, and Xron's able to collect them. Of course, the stack difference between the two champions is super severe. And a nice little shot from Cooler.
As he needs something to go his way for a moment. Gonna find him again. Rocket's decent, but he can't find the rail to follow up. That might have been a frag. I think there might have been a couple of points of health in it. Xron is gonna get the Mega. Armor for Cooler. Cooler's not fast enough to put the pressure onto the Mega pickup. The items spawning at the same time, basically, so really the players are allowed to each have their own half of the map.
But ultimately, I think if they're spawning at the same time, that might only be more problematic for Cooler in the sense that Xron, no matter which is not being overstacked, he's going to have a humongous amount of health and armor.
Oh, he actually went through the teleporter? That was so risky.
Yeah, very brave decision.
Cooler, if he chases, this would be a good idea, but he's not going to look for an angle of any sort. That allows Xron to heal up.
It's almost quite fortunate for Xron that Cooler decided to go across the bridge instead. If he just took that one little look towards the left, he would have seen Xron. Even if he took a pot shot at that health, it would have been fantastic for him.
So there's been a big delay on the heavy in this instance, and I think that was interesting for Cooler to try out. It means that everything's going to synchronous very differently, and I think Xron, did he get the full combo going? He did. He got the direct rocket, and he got the Berserk punch out. So Cooler's Anarchy just explodes.
I mean, you were just talking about why you don't want to be in close proximity with Doom. Yeah. That is case in point exactly why.
It's deadly. You just can't do it.
You disappear from the game. That's it, you're done.
Just going around corners sometimes, it's just way too risky to do. You need to have some rocket spam or something like that so that you can really detect where your enemy is, or just listen to the sounds, of course. And Cooler is yet to take down the Doomslayer of Xron.
And of course, Xron being really capable of that combo with the rocket into instant Berserk mode. If you're doing that against Nyx and you catch her by surprise, she hasn't even got time to activate her Ghost Walk. That may as well not exist, but Xron. I actually like the fact that Cooler almost waited for the Berserk and then went invisible to waste some of the time, but I wonder if it's going to be able to help him out. He's still so risky still.
He had an angle for a moment.
I was worried for a rail shot there.
All right, that's good from Cooler, though it's not going to mean too much considering the Mega Health was taken after the shot landed. Here's Heavy. Xron coming in, and he keeps landing these rails. The pressure is just almost unfathomable from Xron himself.
Every single time.
Finally a return.
Every single time one of these rails misses Cooler, you feel it. It just zips past him. But very important, forced to return. Xron has to now retreat for another time. Here comes the Mega. But is Cooler going to go straight for it, or does he think it might be a bit of a trap?
Well, it might come simply down to the strategy now of the last round, because Xron, he's got a great advantage. There's 40 seconds left. He does not need to put himself in any dangerous situation. Cooler now has to force something. He's got to do something that's a bit too aggressive and is going to be, in normal situations, too risky to actually justify doing.
And as always, Xron has got that Nyx to fall back on. You know, the strategy where players will either delay a respawn, they'll go Nyx, and then you have that guaranteed time of invincibility because the Ghost Walk, you know, we look at 20 seconds,
Whoa.
That's going to be closer to 15 at least, because Nyx will be the second option if it even gets taken out.
That was an awesome defensive rocket from Xron, and it gave him so much information. If that rocket didn't land, it would be a totally different scenario, and Xron gets the combo one more time. Cooler just simply cannot kill Xron's Doomslayer.
You know, there's something really disrespectful about getting pasted by a Doomslayer when he was wearing that ridiculous hat. He's just like, hello, bam, dead. And that was a really good rail by Xron at the very beginning. Really set the precedent for the rest of the round, I think.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe next time we should do a poll as to whether or not Cooler can kill Xron's Doomslayer.
Well, I guess Demon Slayer is accurate too. That works too. Man of many names. But, I mean, to be fair, it's quite a problem champion for Cooler right now. In the hands of Xron, I mean, Xron has so much experience with Doomslayer too. Yeah.
I mean, he mains this champion for 2Z as well. I know that Nyx is his first love, as far as where really his main activity's gone in Quake Champions. And rounding it off with an Anarchy pick, I mean, it's really, I think, both players are using the strongest lineups that we have available in the game at the moment.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, Xron, when he plays in the 2v2, he tends to use Doom in that as well.
Yes, that's right. Oh, there we go. Cooler finally pulling something off himself and makes it work. We've got a frag from him this map.
That was a really nice delayed double jump. You would almost think he'd used the double jump beforehand, but it did keep him nice and healthy. Xron now on the back foot, way less health. Even if he gets this mega, Cooler's not going to be too worried with that 117 he's currently sitting on. And of course, with the bubble, that's going to be full health now.
And Xron, does he want to put pressure on? He should make sure that he can get himself on the rockets. Get himself on other. Ooh, just nice. Knocked across a little bit. Xron's now got his Ghost Walk back. So, all the essentials. Brilliant shot from Cooler, and him starting to land some rails too. It's going to take him to the next step of this game. And the fact that Xron is now the one who has to chase the frag lead also helps Cooler, because he can play a different dynamic of the game. We have got Mega. Xron eventually picks it up and then swiftly moves into Ghost Walk.
I actually love the idea that he used the Ghost Walk right as he takes Mega, because if any of those rockets were going to connect, the most likely scenario was when he was in a situation where he had to get the Mega and it was always going to land on that location. So let's use the invisibility on the most obvious rocket and try and avoid that one. Oof. It's like you said, it's quite interesting that we now get to see the other element, you know, that Cooler's been on the back foot for 2 rounds in a row. Now he's the one in control. We'll see how Xron can recover. I mean, we have plenty of the round left to go and only one champion down so far. Ooh.
Xron's definitely not going to be following up the bounce pad. Cooler with a little bit of spam on the resources down at the bottom, which is what Xron would be chasing. The heavy is up 2, and Xron's not even going to risk it over that side. He's playing a nice, slow, and conservative game. And he can also look at the time and say, right, I don't need to desperately move into an attack of any sort now. I can wait in a moment. He's going to run into him, and Cooler's going to land the combo. It just seems to be the main battle between these two. I think they really... What's happening?
Oh,
he didn't hear anything. The Doom music in the background allows Xron to get the backstab.
Can we turn that music down, please? Like, come on. Have some consideration for these players.
Poor Cooler. So Xron is not over and out. Got a competitive round looking for a mid-air, but he's not going to find it in the end.
I really feel like that's the first time we've ever seen the music actually screw a player.
Yeah. He didn't know anything what was going on. He had no idea.
Quite amazing, really. But they've actually traded it back and forth. So, you know, the fact that Xron is down to his final Anarchy, we haven't really seen a huge amount from his Anarchy. I mean, it pretty much has been the Doom show so far. But we have about a minute and a half left to go with these 2 squishy champions. That is going to be enough time to get something significant. But of course, Nyx with that Ghost Walk being forever a pain in the backside.
Just checking the perimeter, see if it's safe on the outskirts. Cooler comes in for a fairly late attack to pressure a little, but there is still the overstacked armor for Xron. And now he's got all the weapons with that heavy machine gun. And he's putting a bit of pressure. This is nice. If he can land a little bit more, it would help heaps. And now that the Mega's taken, going for a rail could be a decent idea.
Yeah, felt like Cooler was able... Ooh, a little bit of self-damage. That's kind of unfortunate. Well, actually, maybe self-damage or a grounded rocket either way. Not going to be too happy with that one. Cooler taking pretty much minimal damage on the way, and now he's in full control. Nice little rails. Ron without armor temporarily, but that might only be for so long, seeing as there's so much distance between these guys.
That's a pretty big deal as well, actually, not being able to get the heavy. And with 40 seconds to go, Xron needs to find a way in this. Oh, this is actually really huge. Xron's forced out the Ghost Walk. I don't, maybe Xron just saw him over at the other side. We've got 10 seconds until the armor's up, but he's ignoring it. I think he just wants to go for blood.
Well, he's going to be aware that the Ghost Walk is going to be down, so he needs to make something happen. So he's going to be hyper-aggressive, he's going to be on the hunt. But yeah, I mean, it's Cooler's ability to hide here and not be seen. He's
just by the teleporter. He still doesn't have the Ghost Walk. He's got it in 5 seconds. I think maybe he heard it then. He needs to do something in 2 seconds time, otherwise it's going to be all but over. He's got one rocket, Ghost Walk's over, and the time is going to be out. So Cooler, he's on the board now.
Really intelligent play, you know, just buy himself enough time that by the time we're you know, that almost like 5 seconds remaining, the Ghost Walk is available. That was pretty much a done deal, but I love this idea that he just made no sound. He didn't even move, but right there, that Doomslayer combo, I mean, against these small champions, they cannot do anything. If you get caught off guard, you are dead. No time to react.
This is quite a bit of information that Xron's gained, because he knows now where Cooler was hiding when he was, you know, truly waiting and holding for his life. So it's not something he's going to be able to use if a similar scenario occurs in another round.
Well, I suppose if that one-time use is going to give you a little bit of momentum and bring you back into the fight, it's worth it, but definitely.
There's no reason Cooler shouldn't have done it. He absolutely should.
Oh, yeah,
but this is just what could happen otherwise.
Here we go, though. Xron's going Nyx first. He's trying to spice things up a little bit. And Cooler's laying another one of those traps. And yeah, that was the attempt. Xron, though, I've got to say, a nice little reaction.
Yeah.
Actually, the second he caught sight, he knows if a Doomslayer is that close, if he's in that location, he's laying a trap. If he's laying a trap, what is the payout going to be? Rocket, Berserk. I have to waste no time. Instantly go in.
If I wanted to be super pedantic, I could say that Cooler maybe got a tad impatient. I think if he knew Xron was coming around, which he should have through the sound cues, he could have waited just a moment longer and forced Xron to be even quicker on his reflexes.
You almost feel like he gave him just that split second too much time.
Exactly.
However, the cooldown difference is, you know, pretty significant between these two champions. You know, Berserk does have quite a chunky cooldown on it, especially if you both pop it at the same time, and Nyx's, at least with the time shards, is a bit shorter. So much patience coming from Cooler. I mean, he's playing such a slow-paced game up top. I really think he's just trying to get a good gauge of where Xron is and try and lay another one of those traps.
Cooler, as of recent, I say recent, the last couple of years or so, has really been someone who plays versus the player. And I think he's seen that Xron's been setting up these traps that he's fallen into, and he's trying to combat him and say, well, if you can do that, I can do that better.
Anything you can do, I can do
exactly. And Xron's thinking about that now, since that's what he fell to in the last round. He's like, right, this is something I've got to actively avoid, but he's not able to avoid that whatsoever. That is going to be Cooler taking the first frag yet again.
As Xron was able to get out unscathed, though, with that Anarchy. Yeah, there's no way he's going up that jump pad. He knows Cooler's up there. And I must say that this instant adaptation, that's one thing Cooler done. It comes down to his experience in Quake, but instant adaptation. It doesn't take him a map to figure you out. It takes him a matter of rounds, and there's another rocket coming through. Cooler now with a chunky lead in this next round.
Xron's just going on the wrong side. He's cornering himself in, so making the rockets very, very easy to land. And Xron actually, with the Doomslayer right at the end, I mean, he could make some magic happen with this, but he's got very limited time.
And unfortunately, though, when you both got the same champion, but of course, one of you goes first and one of you picks it as the final one, at the end of the day, the champion that went first is going to have a lot more weaponry. You know, first of all, catch him near a spawn and it's going to be, yes, a mirror match, but you've got more weapons. I mean, that's your advantage, surely. However, there's been more than enough time for Xron to get a little bit of his bearings. As you can see, rocket and rail. That's going to be more than enough to get the job done, but hasn't got a huge amount of this round left.
Even investing into that rocket jump, he needs to get some entry damage first. That's not quite enough. He needs maybe a rail, and then he can really close the gap a little and feel that, you know, on balance in those Berserk fights, that he would come out on top.
But Cooler's been playing at a very slow, calculated pace throughout this round, and with a minute and a half remaining, he's going to be more than aware of that.
This is the rotation that Xron needs to make it work on. The heavy's going to be up in a moment. He doesn't have to take it straight away. In fact, chasing might not even be a bad idea, but he's missing his jump, and that's going to slow him down a lot. Now he's going to want to regain the stack, make a move towards the Mega, but he can't really hold on for any more rotations because there's only 60 seconds to go.
But just look at how patient Cooler's being. He's completely underneath Xron, but I don't think Xron has any idea that Cooler was directly underneath him there. Yeah, but Cooler's like, I mean, why would I give him any information at all?
Yeah, he's not going to shoot him.
A minute left. I mean, yeah, he's seen him now, but this is the I mean, that's like the first time Xron must have caught sight of him in a fair while, if we even knew where he was. Here comes a fight.
He's missing out.
The rail.
Where's he gone? The rocket defense. Is he going to go through? He's looking for the rail, but he's not. I think he did land the rail, but unfortunately for him, Cooler still had a stack to work with. So it is 2 for 2. Xron taking the first 2, Cooler taking the last. And this is where we decide the victor of the first map.
I mean, Xron was looking mighty good indeed for those first 2 rounds, but here we go, this final round. I've got to say, Cooler, I really love how much, like, when the second he gets the advantage and he realizes there is absolutely nothing to gain from giving Xron, like, any information, he seems to be taking these almost interesting hiding spots that we don't really see used often, but it's just Cooler having such an understanding of if I'm unseen and I'm basically just keeping my stack on track, I mean, what's the risk here?
Yeah, completely. Now, Xron, I think, realizing that he didn't pick Doomslayer first in the last round, and probably wondering why.
I feel like that was a mistake.
I mean, he's been so strong with Doomslayer, and just because it didn't work in round 3, it doesn't mean that you should just, ditch the champion altogether. Looking for a rocket to land, and he's not hitting much.
He's missing so many of these shots, Suit. Almost every single one.
This is very unlike him. He finally lands something, but he connects with the next one. Cooler maybe doubting his ability to land the shots. You never can gamble on that.
Yeah, it almost reached a point where he'd missed so many. It was like, I mean, is this guy just going to keep missing? Why don't I try and get some more damage in this situation?
I think, I dare say, a bit greedy. Oh, that was a beautiful first rocket. He's trying to finish him in the air, but punch. He's just trying to leap close towards him as well, but he cannot keep a track.
Saving a double jump, though. I mean, if I've overextended and I've missed this lunge, if I've at least got a double jump left, I'm probably not going to get punished by a rocket. That was quite a funky exchange, but both of them quite thankful to be alive, especially Cooler, seeing he's already lost a champion in the first place.
I kind of would have preferred to see Xron finish that with rockets, because he had just got him in the air a lot. There wasn't huge momentum carried on by Cooler in his movement. So there was room for that. Mega taken, but immediately punished with rail, and Xron not able to return fire.
And it's going to allow, and especially after a rail like that, Cooler is going to be on the hunt after a shot like that. He's gone underground. Xron just listening out. Where is this guy? Where is he waiting for me? But again, just look at Cooler. He's had his eyes glued here the whole time, and he's found him.
He's going to look for a punch combo here. Can he find it? He's going to get it. Cooler can't finish the job. He feels that it's absolute desperation. And he is denied the chance. That rail had to land.
You know, when Xron kind of got caught on that pillar, and he was
I was worried for him.
I think we were worried, but it's almost like that slightly benefited him, because I don't think Cooler was even remotely ready for him to be on that pillar for a bit of longer time. And he's pretty much just, he looked away long before he got punched in the face.
And Xron actually played that really well. I mean, because he knew he couldn't get any health or armor, he just stayed there and hoped, all right, best thing that happens to me is that he forces a close range fight. The worst thing that happens is almost that he's forced to go out and get some resources for a little bit, but the fact is that he had a champion advantage anyway.
Of course, and I mean, like, the sheer level of patience by that area of the map. I think it was the fact that he really stayed true to his guns. It was like Cooler went, I mean, he
Whoa, he got him in the air and everything. Just one rocket and a leap, and Xron actually smiling a tiny bit.
Bit of a cheeky I mean, he got a couple of really cheeky frags.
He did. He knows it as well. Right, he's someone, he doesn't usually wear his heart on his sleeve or anything like that. He's kind of like, I wouldn't say like emotionless, but he's calm.
Yeah, I think calm is definitely the word you would use to describe him, especially in this kind of land setting. You don't see a lot coming from Xron, but I gotta say, in that final round, it was really impressive. Not just going back to Doomslayer, which is clearly his strongest champion in this game so far, but a couple of just good bits of decision making. Where in that location by the stairs, just then when he was super weak, Cooler landed that rail, and you're almost going, right, right here, what is Xron gonna do? It forced him. He was looking to the right, and then the second he realized he was stuck on the left, he tried to slightly aim towards the left, and when he was already aiming there, he was free, and he just berserked.
He wasn't even moving that much in the air. It wasn't like he double jumped and it was a strange movement. Cooler, it was just a true misfire. I mean, he absolutely should have nailed that shot, and it wasn't to be. So we will move on to the next map very shortly. I've got to say, though, I did advise Xron in person to get a hairdresser to address what's going on at the top.
Now you've mentioned, I take that as a personal insult.
I mean,
have issues.
It's fine. I just don't think that Xron's at your level.
No one is on my level.
So he's
not even mustard.
He's not quite there. He's going to have to. Whoa, man, careful! I don't want to like burn.
He's out winning this weekend. He won't be watching
burning
this.
or
Say
anything
what I
like
want.
that.
Say what I want. That bomb. Anyway, you were saying.
Jesus Christ, I'm getting in front of a family feud.
In the making.
So yeah, Xron, so he's not got your level of hairstyle. I think that there's just one thing, take care of your brand image and everything.
God, you're savage. Damn, you're savage today.
Okay. I'm good friends with Xron and everything like that. It's just the one thing I think he can tidy up. They will give him, so I don't know, plus 10% accuracy or something. I'm sure there's some deeper hidden meaning of some sort.
Well, that's all well and good, Zoo, but we're on Corrupted Keep.
Is that the case?
Yeah,
This is something that Xron practices, he used to practice a lot with claws. It's a map that I know Xron absolutely adores. And the fact that we're removing the rail as well, I will be very surprised if we don't see the same champion lineup between the two.
Now, results-wise, I know you mentioned, obviously shout-outs to claws, of course, as you can see right there, but Corrupted Keep. What do you reckon? what is the results you're expecting to see from this? I know you favour Xron anyway, and he played super well on Blood Covenant. But now we're on this map. Do you feel like this actually, does this favour Xron in any way, in your opinion?
I think so. I think his combat skills help push him across. I think he's just very aggressive, and I think coming from the first map, he's going to have a little bit more confidence now. This map is a bit harder to set up the slow, sneaky traps too, where Cooler might suffer. But you know what, from the beginning, our predictions have often been different between myself and others in the panel. Let's see this map actually begin, because it is Corrupted Keep between Cooler and Xron. Let's get this one going.
Both going in with Doomslayer. That's a clear lesson from the Blood Covenant. Cooler saying, if I'm having an issue against this champion, I've got to make sure that I'm basically put in the same situation. I've got the same tools, I've got the same health, I've got the same armor, so it's going to be the best player will win here.
And it was a nice little first spawn as well that Xron had, getting the rockets. Go find it. Just pulling his crosshair away. Bits of chip damage, got to be careful through the teleporter exit, but Cooler not going to risk it. Xron's just trying to cover both items. A little bit of pressure there, not going to land any splash. And whoa.
Interesting to see him actually attack that. I mean, the second you heard the Berserker be activated, you'd almost assume it's being used to go from heavy towards Mega, maybe try and beat him to it or just get out of the fight, but Cooler took a lot of damage there.
This is very, very dangerous for Cooler. He's not got the Berserk up. We're going to see the gap closed, and he's just going to land 100% Lightning Gun, it seemed. Easy frag in the end for Xron. Cooler had to make something happen with that Berserk beforehand, and it was just not to be.
And that's not a horrific spawn either, because Cooler, I mean, he's not going to be near a huge amount of equipment to get the job done. Doesn't have a rocket launcher yet, which of course is quite disastrous on Corrupted Keep. You've got to make sure you've got that super weapon on deck. And I see now he's on the way to grab it.
I'm worried that Xron's going to leave that Mega too. So
yeah.
An awful amount of stack has gone in the favor of Cooler at the moment. But I think Xron realized if he gets a good combination off, it's not going to actually matter enormous amounts.
I mean, ultimately, that's what it comes down to. If you understand the champion you're against, even if Anaki's able to collect the Mega, if you're able to get one of those really sweet combos out there with Doomslayer, the damage output, it almost ignores the Mega if it's Anaki you're against.
Look at that nail.
He's being aggressive.
All that pressure that's going on him. Xron finds a decent rocket too. Got the Mega coming up, and Cooler's just going to stick in the sideline now. The assumption that he's not going to be able to take it. Xron gets a bit more LG ammunition. He's going to need some more rockets too, and he's going to be fit and ready to move into another fight.
Xron has been getting a lot of mileage out of that super nail gun.
He has been saying a lot sort of outside games, you know what, nail gun right here on LAN is feeling so good. And that he finds it very, very effective to go against Anarchy, because you can just chip away a decent amount and then leave Anarchy vulnerable to just 1 or 2 shots with a rocket or punch, something along those lines.
I mean, yeah, especially for Doomslayer, right? Just that damage from a distance, and then you can start being really aggressive, and you have a lot of freedom.
Whoa.
I mean, just look at how many of those connected. That's 20 each shot against someone like Anarchy. That's not a lot of damage that he wants to take.
Well, the LG is going to possibly push him off the map, and Xron turns his back at the wrong moment, and that was a perfect counter-attack from Cooler. After all the pressure that he's been under, it was brilliant for him to have the guts just then. 9 HP. Injection's going to be used. Armor taken too. Oh, he's going to get the telefrag. Xron loses 2 champions in quick succession.
That was almost like, you're almost surprised that Xron was sticking around, because you know the injection's been popped, so he must have put a lot of faith in his ability to do that super shotgun. Yes, he's got no armor, so if we got one good shot, we might have one-shot him, but I don't know, that pretty much backfired wholeheartedly.
It might have been a race to see who could get the telefrag.
Maybe.
They were both right next to the teleporter, and it was just a case of try and follow each other into it.
Either way, it was amazing. But Anarchy versus Anarchy. Ooh, Xron forced to use his injection, but that's going to be gone for some time. He's got to be super careful for those rockets now.
Now here comes the Mega. Xron going to take the HP up at the top of Nail Gun Room. They're going to run right into each other. Injection used here. Cooler under a bit of pressure, though, because he cannot fire after using that ability. And Xron, we've got a shotgun over here. Can he be taken down?
I can't believe he only did 6 damage at that range.
And with a couple of seconds to go until the heavy's there, Xron not pressuring. Notice that he's still got time to engineer some sort of attack. He's got the rockets back, and I think that would have been the main cause for concern.
I was almost completely convinced we were going to see one of the two go down in that exchange, but I mean, I guess you live by the spread and die by the spread, and that day, the damage was not there. Going into our final round, of course, this will be in Cooler's favor, having more champions. Whoa. And there we go.
I think all of a sudden, I was about to talk about how this is maybe the last rotation that Xron has before he has to go into a full attack, but he just walked into a heap of Cooler's rockets, which kind of brought it down to an anticlimactic fashion, but it was a very nice round for Cooler in the end. Xron looked like he was so comfortable at the start, and then it just completely turned another way. So
it's actually a really good decision to do that by Cooler, you know, where you'd almost be considered, if someone's being chased all the time and they're always running away, the illusion is that they don't want to fight you. But the second Cooler was put in a situation where he realizes, hang on a minute, I can take this fight, because he caught him off guard, caught him in air as well, and he's stuck in such a small location, the routes of which he can escape are unlikely, so the LG accuracy is going to be better. It was a really good decision to fight right there by Cooler.
It's the distance as well. We've got a push forward here from Xron. There's only 7 HP. The Berserk comes up, but Xron chips away, finishes it with the LG. Ended up being an easy kill, and he still has the Berserk to play with.
Now, we definitely saw that in the first round. Xron got a little bit too comfortable on the offense, and Cooler turned it around in the blink of an eye. But, of course, you know, at this level of play, you might only get burned by that one time, and
Oh, Xron, he wanted to try and jump up from the lower ledge. And having burned off Berserk now, might cause him some issues moving forward. But he has got the first frag, which should remove some of his concern. Here's the armor, and now time to look at putting a bit of pressure on a Mega Health. And he wants to go closer over here. He's happy to do so. He gets the direct to follow up. Cooler just runs straight into it.
I guess that's got to be why. It's surprising, actually, the second he realized Xron was going to try and stay at that range, and he had the health he did, Cooler sort of staying there to fight. Quite confident. He went for the perforation again, I think.
That was tremendously close, that perforation. Not much damage, though, with the rockets. 10, 20s. You want the bigger numbers than that.
Yeah, the heavy Xron's nice now. He's stuck in the air, though. Watch out.
Going to try and hold on for this Mega Health. The rocket's very nice from Cooler, and Xron is further under pressure. I mean, Xron shouldn't have been there. There was 5 seconds until the Mega Health. He should have at least gone for some HP bubbles. Maybe he could have attacked afterwards. And Xron once more being aggressive.
And it almost seems like he bet that entire life on more nails connecting than they actually did. Like,
yeah.
He had fired so many. I mean, if they were on the mark, we would have probably seen a dead Cooler, but unfortunately not. And Cooler, hang on. Going in for his invisibility after the frag, just in case it didn't work out, but he's back in this fight. He turned things around in round 1. It's looking to do exactly the same thing now.
It's very questionable decisions from Xron. He might go down again over here. Cooler tries to chase a bit, but Anarchy's too fast around those corners.
If Xron didn't stop moving right there, he probably would have walked right into that one. Cooler only has one more shotgun blast, good to go. Just like that. I mean, the turnaround, the Nyx pick on this map has been so fruitful for Cooler, and he's been using Nyx to great effect ever since, you know, QWC began. This really was one of his main champions that he's been forefronting for such a long time. His knowledge of when to use invisibility is, you know, the best out there, you know, among the top.
I'd normally say that Xron's Nyx is very strong, but he's been pretty weak on Corrupted Keep at the moment.
Hasn't really had a chance to get going too much.
No. Oh, this is dangerous for Cooler, but he's going to find the rocket right at the end, and I think Xron just totally threw away that round. That was, I dare say, pretty horrendous from him. There were some very, very questionable aggressive moves where he had too aggressive of a positioning, considering the stack that he had, and Cooler found it very easy to push him off the mega health, get the kill in those scenarios, and
now, of course,
it's disappointing.
In Xron's position, if he's going to start making mistakes, at the very least, he's making mistakes in a map that he in some ways can afford to lose, being a map up. However, at this level of play, and against a player like Cooler, you cannot give a player like Cooler a lifeline, because he will run away with it.
Xron was on about 2 points of health there. He's going to be able to escape, get the 225s over on the other side, but he's still...
One good rocket will see to that. Oh!
That was almost the one as well. Well, armor's up. We've got the health too. And Xron's going to scoop that up as soon as he can, and he knows that he's got to be pretty much perfect for the rest of this map if he wants to secure a 2-0 off of Cooler.
Well, with Cooler being 2 rounds up, and it's also the fashion of how those rounds have gone down, making the comeback and really making Xron sweat.
That lightning gun from Xron was not bad at all, but Cooler just had such an edge on him. He had the SAR, he did almost 50 to 100 damage before Xron was even returning fire after those missed rockets.
Xron's definitely in trouble. This is likely to be Cooler's result. I mean, if it continues this way, but definitely this will be a 3-0 and we'll go into a map 3.
I'd be very impressed if Cooler if he's able to do this, because this is a map that I expect Xron to be very strong on, and so far he's proved to be making quite a few kind of critical areas and positions where he's normally favored. We've got no Ghost Walk from him. Xron trying to put on some form of attack.
He is stuck between a rock and a hard place right there. Probably going for a slight detour to get a little bit of armor. And yeah, he's just going to push this one forward. A little bit of an insurance policy on that right-hand rocket going into the berserk. I mean, if he gets it, Xron trying to maybe, I don't know. I'm not even sure what he was really going for when he was standing near the teleporter entrance, but...
Doing anything to escape at that stage, but there's just nothing you can do. We have got one champion left on Xron. He might be going down in a moment. Injection is going to be used from him. Small stack available for the Ukrainian.
But Cooler lying in wait, and he catches him in the air, but... Normally getting caught in the air is danger territory. Xron, speaking of danger, very close to death right now. And on his final champion, this is going to be a tall order to come back against a player like Cooler when he's playing so well on this map. I mean, that's not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination.
Indeed. We've got 2 items exchanged. Xron is not going to be able to get close, but it's a perfect rocket for Cooler, and he totally sweeps Corrupted Keep. He's like, oh, you thought you had it well on Blood Covenant, but that was a crippling victory. Well, crippling defeat, should I say, for Xron.
Well, I feel like, if you're Cooler in this situation, that is exactly the win that you needed. Where it's, okay, so it looked kind of good for Xron, where the rounds Xron won on Blood Covenant were definitely dominant ones. But on the flip side, if I've now taken a map that Xron is known to be very strong on, in our situation, 3 straight rounds, happy days. He's going to be going into the next map with a lot of confidence. Xron's going to be feeling the heat after a loss like that.
There are some very questionable moves, and I know there's stuff that Xron provides some commentary of himself sometimes, like, you shouldn't be playing like this, shouldn't be making mistakes to this extent, and he was kind of going against the rules he sets himself. So it was very unlike him, but it was, expertly played by Cooler. He did everything by the book, and he punished Xron for all the mistakes like he should have. So now moving to the next map, we're going to have to see Xron making a fewer errors.
Yeah.
And if Cooler, but, irrespective of that, if Cooler keeps playing that way and keeps not making errors himself, it's going to be either very close or maybe the other guys, I'll have to hand it to them and say that they're right.
Well, we mentioned that at this level, the room for error is starting to go down. How about a final map when it's elimination map? The smallest error that you make at this level will become essentially the difference between staying in this tournament and being out. And it's been such a long qualification process between these 2 guys as well, where there's been many, many weeks. But we're going into our final map, which is going to be Ruins of Sarnath. Not really expecting too much of a champion change, to be fair. These guys have been sticking with their guns, and it definitely comes down to game plan with these champions. And the fact that it's a complete mirror match, I mean, this is honestly just coming down to who approaches this matchup better.
Yes, indeed. I think that Rail, obviously coming back in point out the obvious, as I like to do, but to see if Xron can get on form with that gun once again is going to be absolutely critical, because he didn't look like he was necessarily perfect with the rest. He wasn't getting the same combos as well as Cooler with the Doomslayer. We need to see him landing some flawless shots. Cooler has been good with the aim in the past, but I would never point him out as someone who's been supreme in combat skills, unlike his strategic side, whereas Xron is someone who can fall back on his combat skills a bit more and make things work from that. The amount of highlights that we've seen from him already in this tournament, where he is combining his LG to rockets to rail and so on, that's what we need to get from him if he wants to go forward.
And the Ruins of Sarnath being a map where those kind of highlights and those kind of big plays are completely possible, because you've got so many angles to not only like lay those ambushes as always, lots of distance. You know, there's so many great distance shots you can get with a rail on this map, and Xron looks pretty damn powerful on Blood Covenant, and we might see some of that again on this final map, Ruins of Sarnath. Cooler versus Xron. Let's go, DreamHack 2017.
And to start with, we are going to be getting Cooler's point of view. He's getting Rocket side of the map combined with Mega Health.
That's a great start, to be fair. I mean, if you're Doom and you've got a Rocket and a Mega, like, happy days.
Thank you, please. Now, he's just standing still. He's like, okay, where are the sound cues? I don't know if he necessarily heard the armor getting taken, which is what he might be waiting for. He might have picked up the Rocket at the same time or something that the Mega was taken and lost track of it. But we'll see that on the next rotation, because at the moment, Cooler's just denying the rocket launcher from Xron.
And Xron's going to be aware too. He's just looking for his chance to maybe get one of those rail shots, force Cooler away. If he forces Cooler away, that will be his time to collect the rocket launcher, but they use that time to almost trade off that heavy for the Mega again. And at the very least, they've sort of gone for a bit of a switcheroo, so Xron should have been able to collect the rocket launcher by now.
Yeah, Cooler's fled to the other sides of the map just to get a more rounded out arsenal of weapons. Moving the LG was out of range a little, but they are going to slowly face each other with it.
This is favorable for Cooler. Can he finish the job? Yes, he can. LG comes back into play. So many of these players in Quake Champions right now aren't really favoring the LG too much, but this little play, you can see it's still such a dangerous weapon if you have the accuracy to back it up. Yeah,
Cooler's using it absolutely the way he should. And Xron is almost as if he's not expecting that kind of pressure, because he's totally out of position for receiving it and wasn't able to punish Cooler for closing the gap as much as he did.
Well, you mentioned combat skill, right? How that's something Xron excels at, playing many of these like deathmatch-based game modes as well. Is there almost a possibility that because, you know, the rocket launcher gets favored so much that you're almost like conditioned that that is how people tend to try and dodge now, because they're used to the rocket launcher being such a powerful weapon, you forget about the rest of them?
Yeah, that's possible. Oh, we've come in.
Wow.
Tries to get the punch, but he's not quite able to land the combination. He has a bit too much distance, and that's ended up being a very clean kill for Xron.
Fresh off the spawn as well. Cooler's got to watch out, but yeah, fumbles the rocket jump, so he's not really going to be able to get the position he was after there.
Looks pressure with the rail. Does land a shot over here. Oh, can't get another, and he's going to watch out for any more machine gun damage heading his way.
Fortunately, the only thing Cooler was able to damage there, though, was the vase, so RIP.
Rip the pots on the map.
He's not going to get his lore challenge in this either.
Oh. I know Xron's got all the lore already, so...
Of course he does.
Oh, my God.
Nice shot.
I mean, obviously the lore point there was very important too, so... But
if you think about it, it's what really set that one up.
Exactly.
We talk about the lore and he goes, of course, the pots. Cooler's near the pots.
Yeah, that's it.
Very favourable for Xron going down to this Anarchy.
Oh, he's really holding that zoom in just so he can get that extra 10 damage burst. Missing out on a lot of rockets. Pressure from Cooler's brilliant.
Wow, nice.
Ghost Walk is forced.
That was really good timing from Cooler, actually, waiting for the heavy to spawn and then understanding that the invisibility's been popped right before he reappears, get that rocket boost, move out of Nyx's line of sight.
Xron's got to be careful how he dismounts over here. He's eventually going to go away. He knows that there's the 2-time shards and he's pretty much got the Ghost Walk available once more. And let's see, can he put any pressure on the Mega? He's slow to turn around. One rail will kill him. Oh.
Even though Cooler was knocked into the air, of course, Anarchy with that increased air movement still able to maneuver himself near the Mega. And of course, that Mega is what's allowing him to survive rails just like that. Now he's got the heavy too. Cooler, gotta say, you know, his ability to sort of deal with how much damage was just thrown at him there. Very impressive.
Yeah, Cooler has got a minute and a half to put something together here on this of a fight of some sort. Oh, wow. Finds so much damage just then. He goes for the close range rail. I don't really like the weapon choice there from Xron. Tries to find the vertical angle, but Cooler is going to be escaping.
But of course, the risk you run, you mentioned like the weapon choice, the risk that you run there going for rails at that distance is if Cooler decides he wants to take the fight and he acknowledges that a rail's been missed, you know he is going to go in. He's going to get one of those rockets, he's going to get one of those shots you basically can't do anything about, especially if the Ghost Walk's not available, of which it won't be now. Xron trying to get out of there, but reappears right in front of Cooler, who now knows the escape mechanism is, and then he gets this super shotgun on Xron last minute.
That was close. That was an amazing read from Cooler as well to follow through towards the connector, realizing that Xron would want to take that route. However, he's used the injection. If we can get good pressure from Xron, it might not be over, but it's a perfect rail from Cooler, securing the first round.
Very important first round to take on this final map. I'll say Cooler, his level of composure, it's what we expect to see. from a player of Cooler's.
Completely. And I think, you know, Xron, maybe that pressure on his own. He's not performed a lot of times on the stage himself. He's often with his 2Z guys, like he was at QuakeCon. The only time we've seen him play in that sort of playoff arena otherwise was, I believe, top 8 at QuakeCon when he went up against his teammate Claws.
He's trying to get one of those angles. Cooler has taken a bunch of damage, of course, railable, so he's going to try and retreat, get a little bit of health. Very good idea to do that. You don't want to really challenge. Even if Xron is missing some of these crucial rails, if you are railable health, you just can't run that risk.
Okay, we'll need a couple more rockets for Xron if he wants to.
Yeah, 4's not going to be anywhere near enough.
I think I wouldn't mind seeing him get the lightning gun too.
I mean, it was a start weapon for Cooler in that first round.
Got a perfect rail. Just trying to get another, but he's vulnerable now. Might be looking at getting the health below instead, just to keep himself safe. And Cooler was only on a couple of points of HP, but he's not going to be able to chase, and it's just not worth the risk. Xron has to do some punishing soon, though.
Cooler was going to wait patiently for that Mega. He was pretty much on the brink of death for a second, but just, I mean, check out the difference now.
Coach deems it safe to jump across and immediately walks away from the middle of the room. We've got the Berserk that's come out. Xron's going to know this, and he's probably going to wait a couple of moments and realize, all right, there's going to be a good time to attack in a second when I can really get up close.
Cooler was in a really tough spot there. You know, almost got caught with his pants down with that, you know, rail, and then he activated the Berserk, and of course he was stuck, not even being able to attack for until the rail would sort of run out. That sort of built-in mechanic to prevent you from being able to punch too quickly after a rail shot. But if Xron was there, we may have even seen him capitalize on that, because he was stuck for such a long time. Cooler trying to get a little bit more information. Where is Xron? Where is he firing?
I think he's also trying to wait out and get Berserk too. He hasn't really been taking any time shards. I knows it's going to be important. He's even just waited out on the small armor. And I was like, all right, a couple of moments, I've got it back.
I guess you can afford to be that patient when you're not behind in any way, in the sense of at least you're even on champions. We have 3 minutes left of this round. I don't need the time shards. I mean, I've got 3 minutes left once my Berserk becomes available.
Oh, completely.
No rush just yet.
Yep, and he's even had a good time on the Mega. That's a nice rocket, though, from Xron. He's pushed in with a rail. 2 Berserks. Pillar's going to be hit by him, and he's going to end up getting a perfect shotgun blast on Cooler. So first frag goes to Xron. But we've seen this before, where Xron does get a good start to a duel and ends up throwing it away in a kind of an awkward and silly fashion.
I mean, we literally just saw that in Corrupted Keep, right? Where he had those 2 rounds that... both those rounds were his round to lose, and Cooler with those 2 super clutch Nyx comebacks.
Oh, he tries to get the full combo going, but it will not find it. And doesn't fully stop the momentum that Cooler had.
Of course, Doomslayer has got that advantage if he gets caught on a jump pad. That double jump letting him sort of leave, or sort of actually land on the floor a little bit earlier than most. He's not going to get caught in the air. Most champions in that situation where Cooler was just waiting there with the lightning gun probably would have died there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all heard that jump pad activated.
And I think Xron also realized that the Cooler was waiting up right next to him, so it's like,
that was quite a loud
I won't go
noise,
over
wasn't
there.
It? Yeah.
Oh, he's actually gone right up close. Xron, I think he could have punished us then. He was right next to him and decided not to go for the Berserk. That could have been a fantastic moment. We've got another rotation of items.
It's almost a level of timidness we're seeing from Xron where, you know, normally the Xron we've been seeing so far is you talk about his combat skill and his ability to go, right, this frag should be guaranteed, or at the very least, I've got a fantastic chance at winning this 1 versus 1. I'm going to go in and take it. That kind of was one of those, you know, situations where the injection was used very, very early. Anarchy sitting on 76 HP with no armor. That's a rail. That's even like an above average rocket, and Anarchy would have been dead there. Yeah. Xron just chose not to take the fight at all.
I think that's maybe a lost opportunity for Xron. I know that in Quake Live times, he was known for occasionally taking maps off pretty much anybody. And he was a very patient player back then. It seems like he's kind of adopting the style of the old.
Well, of course, I suppose he can afford to be patient. You have to look at the clock, 35 seconds on the board, and he has the advantage. And, ooh, that was... that kind of encounter normally results in a dead Anarchy, to be honest, but the rocket didn't hit its mark.
That last rocket, though, that last rocket was flawless. And that's forced Cooler to move back, and now he's only got about 20 seconds. Xron looking to stay alive and get around back at last. It's been some time since he's really been in a map. Knows exactly where Cooler is. Has denied him more time.
this is such a horrendous situation for Cooler. He's opted to wait a couple of seconds to get that heavy armor, so he's going to take the fight, but unfortunately he's had to bank it on immediately locating his target, but the Berserk shoots as well. Those defensive rockets are on the mark, and that is going to allow Xron to, I mean, very closely take that second round.
He's using every single resource possible to try and get things, you know, working for him. It's reminding me a lot of how Vu played on Blood Run over at the Italy Open. In terms of if he's getting an advantage, he just makes it right. You know what? The most important thing isn't getting every single frag there is. It's getting, you know, it's keeping survival. That is the main bit, and then I can take the rounds to the end.
It seems like when Cooler is moments away from actually losing the round, it's almost like he's not really running headfirst into it. You know, so often we see these players, when there's only a few seconds remaining, they pretty much pile in face first and go, look, I'm going to go in full speed. If I get a frag, fine. If not, I'm going to lose anyway. Cooler still takes those extra couple of seconds to get the mega, to get the heavy. Yeah. And then he decides to do it. It's almost like, you know, he's still trying to give himself as much of an advantage as he can, even in a bleak situation. Yeah,
I mean, you could definitely argue to try and go for a very risky move before that. And part of it was just the fact that there was such good counter pressure from Xron. He was landing damage and making sure that there was less than 75 or 80 health for Cooler if he did want to do an immediate rush. So I thought, you know what? It might mean I have to work even later, but at least I'll have more health and we'll survive more than a shotgun blast or something else. Good combo here for Cooler. Got to watch out, the rockets come in and he's not going to be able to land in midair.
Xron barely alive after that, but still alive nonetheless, and thinking that's better than nothing. Of course, the mega being nearby.
Xron's going to be careful on this side.
This is just where things get really scary. I know this isn't exactly the final round, but I mean, the one round each final map. Elimination map.
Wow, I can't believe he showed his face just then. He was a bit slow getting down. He is going to land a rail. Can he land a second? The dodge! Oh my God! Cooler just staying to the side.
That was so brave to just stand there. Oh my days.
He was just holding his crosshairs like, wait, he's going to walk back into it, but he's going to land one more shot, and Xron, first blood in round 3.
And in much faster fashion, I have to say. I know these rounds have been quite slow. Nice little rocket jump into double jump too. Cooler tried to capitalize, but...
Cooler dodge, not working right now. Oh, he's going to get the rocket, and he gets the full combo going. Rocket into punch, and Cooler is falling down. He might be on a last possible round chance. Shotgun blast.
Yeah, I mean, he's fresh off the spawn. He's got the ghost walk, but yeah, there's no way Cooler's going to try and fight. Actually, sticking in the background. He's been clocked. I do not know how he's going to escape this.
It's a miracle if he escapes somehow. The algae is great from Cooler, but unfortunately for him, he's just got 2 little points of health himself. Xron, he's on match point right now, and Cooler's at risk of elimination.
But I mean, if you're going to be one of the best Quake players in the world, Cooler's been in this situation many times. This is the time for us to see the Cooler that we all know and love. He is so close to being eliminated from this tournament, but he can still do this.
I know that at the beginning of the tournament, I was saying, actually, he's someone who could go pretty far. Right now, we're just in the round of 12 stage, and in front of him is quite a beast that he's going to have to tame.
And even then, the winner of this...
Whoa, that's it. That's the start that he needed. Gets the combo working, gets the first frag, and, well, items are going to be up shortly, and he should be able to continue some kind of momentum here.
And what's absolutely insane is that the winner of this moves on to fight Rafa. Like, this, I mean, this is just the first of many hurdles, but what a hard fight this is turning out to be.
I mean, the guys who are already in the quarterfinals, I mean, this is just a stacked list of names, and you're reaching royalty levels if you're getting there.
Xron put in another situation where he goes, you know what, I'm not even going to risk it. Let's go invisible. He's clocked him.
Oh, did Cooler see him?
He must have done. I think they will, yeah.
Oh, no, he does it again. He just walks right into him. Xron, why are you taking these chances? He's going for one more punch.
And he gets at least one more punch before it's out. And another fantastic rocket. He gets the heavy, but with that much health, that rail still would have hurt substantially.
Nice little movements from Xron to move away. He does get himself the rockets in the end. No injection at all, but with a stack to work with, maybe he can get an attack. And he knows he's got to attack before that Berserk comes back up, because otherwise he's in trouble. But the rockets are so good from Cooler.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Final round on this final map for DreamHack 2017. This has been a ridiculous series indeed, but I mean, can you even call this? That was a ridiculous round for Xron before, and a just as ridiculous round from Cooler, and this is what it's all waiting on.
I don't know if I want to call it. I don't know if
it's even possible.
I can't go back on my prediction whatsoever, but you know, this is what the players live for at the moment.
This is a similar start, actually, from what we saw previously.
Oh, a bit of a splash return by Cooler. No follow-up on the rail. Ron needs to go heavy with the aim. I know that Claus is going to be watching anxiously in the audience. We saw a little clip of him earlier.
Definitely. I would not be surprised if everyone in this audience is watching anxiously. So much is riding on this elimination round between two fantastic players, but...
Oh, just missing out. Good little jump, the rocket from Xron, and he follows up. Look at that move that he just made. Is he going to try and keep the pressure going?
You know, I'm surprised. I think that actually may have been Xron's attempt to keep the pressure going, maybe anticipating Cooler was going to run away from down there. He was actually kind of checking those angles, but not really on the money for them. So, Cooler being alive, he is getting so many of these fantastic shots. He answers back with a shotgun, goes in for Berserk for good measure, but doesn't even need it at this health. Cooler losing his Doomslayer, and he's now an Anarchy versus a heavy armored Doomslayer instead. This is a difficult situation. That
was huge. Opportunity completely carved out of landing. Fantastic rails. And a very aggressive push from Cooler. Makes it up. The rail. He's got the small armor, but has to run away immediately on just over 100 points of health. Cooler was playing with fire just then. That injection's going to be down for a substantial amount of time as well. A nice rocket from Xron. I mean, basically just needs to breathe on him at this health. Cooler is in trouble. It's falling apart for him a little bit at the moment. Xron had a golden last round. Managed to get things going. You know, the manner absolutely spot on. The manner of how back and forth these have been. That was a super crucial shot. What? He tries to get the Mega anyway. I'm not sure I agree with that. Oh my God. Almost landing another. He's going to go right up next to him, trying to land one more rail, but he cannot quite find the pixels to land the angle. As Ron escapes narrowly with his life. Armor is not up for 5 seconds. He's down here. Right back to the health bubble. He's trying to dodge, but Xron is going to land the last rocket, gets the sweep in the final round, and manages to take away the monster that is Cooler here in the duel. That was a hard-fought series until the very end. But I mean, what a result for Xron being able to move on, who will now be facing off against Rafa. But I mean, that final play at the very end, going down to meet him, I'm not really sure. Yes, he had a rocket, but that seemed like a bit of a funny angle to take a fight. He was kind of rushing it quite a lot as well.